the penultimate event in this year's MSA South African Rally Championship. It was back to the Western Cape for the Cape Rally, organised by the Cape Peninsula Motorcycle and Car Club, with all the usual last-minute preparations and formalities. It's Table Mountain on a clear spring day, with competitors in this year's National Rally Championship making their final visit of the year to the fairest Cape of them all. Headquarters for the Cape Rally were at the Killarney race circuit, with the pit and paddock a hive of activity as the cream of the country's rallyists went through documentation, scrutineering and other formalities associated with the sport at this level. With the season drawing to a close, it was crunch time for title hopefuls. Leading the overall Drivers and Co-Drivers Championship were Serge Damso and Robert Paisley. Crews have to drop one event at the end of the season, and this added to various permutations and rising tension among the title contenders. It was home territory for championship leader Serge Damso, who was aiming at taking a step closer to securing his 8th South African Drivers' Championship.
You know, we've got quite a few points ahead if Etienne drops one. But, you know, if you look at it, Habig and myself can't afford to drop. That's it. You know, we fall out and then Etienne's got it.
The third factor in the Drivers' Championship battle was Etienne Lawrence.
I don't want to make any predictions or anything like that. I think we all have got to go as hard as we can, get maximum points, because I've still got to drop an event. So, you know, at this point I've got 24 points to drop, which puts me 4 points behind Habig in 3rd place. So, but anything can happen. The pace is quite hot, and anyone can make a mistake. So we could all try and get to the end, get maximum points.
The leading contenders in the Group N Championship battle were Team Total Toyota pair Dean Sanders and Graham Hooper, and reigning Drivers' Champion Hannes Frobler and Brian Duncan from the Total Bridgestone Nissan camp. Apart from the Frobler-Duncan challenge in the overall championship, Sanders and Hooper also had the Class N2 title to think about.
Well, we've got to beat him on one of the last two, basically, if we don't have any problems, you know. And if we can do that, it'll be fine. But we've also got to look at the N2 championship and try and hopefully wrap that up on this one, and then we can give it a full go next time. But we'll just see how it goes.
For their part, the hugely experienced Frobler and Duncan had most of the tactical angles covered.
Well, we have to first finish, and we're going to try and finish ahead of him. So we're probably not going to try and beat the guys with the modified cars ahead of us. But we'll see, you know, anything can happen in a rally, and we'll have to see what's going to happen.
A short Friday program on the Cape Rally was to be followed by a tough second day. Teams would move into traditional Cape Rally territory in the Swartland, with the N7 providing teams and spectators easy access to what promised to be some great action. Friday's menu was cut to 3 special stages after the cancellation of 1 special stage because of a bridge washaway. First car away at the start at the Killarney race circuit was the Team Total Toyota Corolla of championship contenders Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley. Next up were local heroes Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the dealer Team Toyota Corolla, with the pair hailing from the Western Cape.
1 minute.
Sasol VW pair Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding have been rallying together for 11 seasons and started ahead of reigning champions and Sasol VW teammates Jan Habig and Doug Judd.
Our approach will have to be flat out from the beginning, and you know, I believe that the reliability is there now, so I don't think it should be a problem for this event or the next one. And maybe the other guys have a bit of a lapse in their reliability.
The pressure was on for Jan Habig and Doug Judd. After 2 non-finishes this season, victory in the final 2 events of the season was a must. But another failure to see out the distance would effectively blow their title challenge out of the water. From the start, crews headed for the only gravel special stage of the day in the tranquil Potsdam area. Pockets of snow still on the mountains were a reminder that spring had not yet fully sprung. With only the Potsdam stage and 2 super specials at Killarney on Friday's agenda, there were not likely to be any fireworks from the leading contenders. Team Total Toyota pair Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley are not often cast in the role of pathfinders on national rallies, and went into the event as the only top flight crew with a 100% finish record this season. Being first on the road often places a little extra pressure on crews, but Lawrence and Paisley settled in nicely and posted the 3rd fastest time. Behind Lawrence and Paisley, the factory pair of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson were on familiar ground. But for the fact that this season they campaign a Class A6 car, Damso and Hodgson would have been cast in the role of outright favourites to win the Cape Rally. Class A6 car or not, the experienced Damso and Hodgson had already led Toyota to a pair of 1-2 finishes during the season. Taking into account dropped points at the end of the season, Damso had a tight hold on the Drivers' Championship. The Sasol VW team was looking to Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding to run interference on the Toyota entries. But those plans were scuppered within a few hundred meters of the start of Special Stage 1.
Just make sure that
A broken fuel rail was spraying petrol onto the windscreen and into the interior of the Sasol VW Golf, and Van der Walt and Harding put self-preservation high on the agenda and abandoned ship. While Van der Walt delved into the innards of the VW Golf, co-driver Harding held up the reverse side of the board that signals the crew are okay as Havik and Judd started out on the stage. For Havik and Judd, it was a bitter disappointment to realize that they were now out on their own in the fight against the Toyota camp. Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson took 4 seconds off Lawrence and Paisley, and Havik and Judd responded by taking 2 seconds off the factory Toyota. For a bitterly disappointed Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding, it was the end of the road.
Fuel rail came loose, and so it's pouring fuel all over the engine. So if we try and drive it and it ignites, then we'll burn. It's not worth taking a chance.
Discretion the better part of valour for Van der Walt and Harding, but building up ahead of steam were Group N and Class N2 contenders, Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper in the team total Toyota Corolla. The Potsdam stage was a switchback affair, and as Saunders and Hooper disappeared down the road, they doubled past arch Class N2 rivals Quivers Ruiz and Neil Paris in the SALive.com Toyota. Back at the Killarney Service Park, crews were hard at work changing tyres for the first of the Super Specials, which feature 2 cars at the same time on a mirror image course. Apart from a few metres of gravel, the Killarney stage was run all on tar, and off came the gravel tyres and on went the near racing slicks. The organisers bunched up all the competitors at the start of the first Super Special stage, and in among the general light-hearted camaraderie, there were 1 or 2 furrowed brows. Thrown together in one of the 2 car matches were current Class A7 championship leaders Tony Ball and Marty Olivier, and Class A6 kingpins Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Klaassen. Ball and Olivier were out in the Bulwer Park VW Golf, with Damso and Johan Klaassen in the team total Toyota Corolla. Damso is the son of multiple champion Serge Damso, and after a dreadful start to the season, the Somerset West youngster and Umschlanger-based Klaassen was showing a return to form in the latter part of the series. A huge crowd was enjoying the action provided by the Super Special format, with the cars lapping Killarney the wrong way round. The veteran Ball is one of the most experienced campaigners in national rallying, but Damso was showing all the enthusiasm of youth. The Toyota crew was 7 seconds faster, with interest then switching to the clash between overall Group N championship rivals Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, and Hannes Krobler and Brian Duncan. It was also a case of the Class N3 championship leaders up against the Class N2 frontrunners, with the odds stacked slightly in favour of Krobler and Duncan in the total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra. The Nissan pair had the advantage of a few extra 100 cc's, with Krobler also a hugely accomplished race car driver. National titles on the track in off-road racing and in rallying speak volumes for Hannes Krobler's skill and versatility as a driver. He's also one of the nicest guys in motorsport, and to no one's surprise took a few seconds off Saunders. When championship contenders Jan Havik and Doug Judd lined up for the start of the stage, there alongside them were Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding. The pair were out of the rally, but in what amounted to a guest appearance, agreed to even out the numbers and go head-to-head with Havik and Judd to provide the crowd with a little extra entertainment. 2-time champion Jan Havik has concentrated throughout his career on rallying and brings to the track the spectacular aggression that is a hallmark of his rally driving. Chad van der Walt is also no slouch, and the 2 Sasol VW Golf factory drivers had the crowd going wild in what turned into a desperately close finish. Havik and Judd sneaked through to take the stage win, with the enthusiasts royally entertained by the 2 crews. There was also a huge amount of interest in the clash between the dealer team Toyota pair of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson and the team total pair of Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley. Damso is another of those talented stars who's equally at home on the track or out on the rally route. On the track, Damso has driven everything from standard saloon cars through to modified saloons and touring cars, and is a multiple Western Province and national champion. By contrast, Lawrence is a rally expert, but versatility is also a quality of which the KwaZulu-Natalian has an abundance. At the end of the two super specials, there was only 1 second between the two cars. There was a festive atmosphere in the stands, with further entertainment provided by Marius Swart and Jan Syme. The pair made acquaintance with one of Killarney's safety walls, and there were ironic cheers from the crowd. Syme looked a little put out by developments, and the SALive.com Honda Ballard was a little the worse for wear.
Marius, you okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
Just a bit of a miscalculation?
Yeah, we lost it. It's the sand on the road, yeah. It's just absolutely lost it.
At the end of the first day, a 14-second lead for Jan Habak and Doug Judd, with second-placed Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley leading Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson by 3 seconds. The stage was set for an intriguing battle on day 2 of the Cape Rally. A lull before the storm at the first service park on the outskirts of Malmesbury, with the resumption of battle eagerly awaited. With only 3 special stages, day 1 of the Cape Rally had not proved a great deal, but everyone was girding their loins for what promised to be a second day packed with action. The stakes for the championship contenders were high, and there was a discernible air of tension in both the Volkswagen and Toyota camps as technical personnel and crews prepared for a tough day.
Yeah, yesterday was a bit of a waste of time, I think. There was not a lot of rallying and a lot of waiting around, so the meat of the rally starts today, and yeah, hopefully there will be quite a bit of action.
In the Toyota camp, a slight worry over a fuel starvation problem.
Last night, the last stage, we had a bit of a fuel problem, fuel surge. But it's only 3 seconds between Etienne and myself, so we'll have a look at it today.
In the team total corner, a laid-back Etienne Lawrence was looking forward to getting back into the fray.
The pace is right, and the car's nice, so we'll just carry on doing the same thing today. As you said, yesterday was a bit of a start and wait and kind of thing, so today is back to the brunt of the story. I think it was 8 hours of rallying, which is great.
Cheerful birthday boy Jean-Pierre Damso was hoping the day would produce something special, and a podium finish would do nicely.
If one of the guys pull out in front there to finish on the podium, will be a good birthday present. But to catch him, I don't think we're going to catch him. But if we pull out, we'll be there.
And now for something completely different, with an unusual race cam angle capturing Jan Habak and Doug Judd hard at work in the Sasol VW Golf. A calm Judd was calling out instructions to Habak from the pace notes prepared by the organisers, with the crew taking a battering in one of the smallest and noisiest offices in the world. Needing to win the Cape Rally and the final event of the season to keep alive their championship hopes, top of the agenda for Habak and Judd was to quickly snuff out a potential Toyota challenge. Race cam action now from the Lawrence Paisley Team Total Toyota, with the pair under threat from Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, who started the day only 3 seconds in arrears, with local knowledge also a major factor. With dropped points taken into account, Serge Damso went into the Cape Rally needing only a second and a third to virtually assure himself of an 8th national driver's title. It was early days yet, but so far the Toyota man was right on schedule. Co-driver Guy Hodgson missed the first event of the year and also needed a rich haul of points to cement his claims in the Co-Drivers' Championship. The day got off to a good start for the pair when they took time off both Habak and Judd and Lawrence and Paisley and moved into second place. For the overnight leaders in Class A7, the day got off to a slightly different start, and Tony Ball and Marty Olivier beached the Bulwer Park VW Golf. Ball and Olivier went into the Cape Rally leading the Class A7 championship, but this was a hiccup they did not need. There were plenty of willing helpers around, but the pair lost precious time before they were underway again, and worse was to follow a little further down the road. Behind the Bulwer Park VW crew, Pretoria pair Barry Provelar and Mike Burrows were going along steadily in the second Sasol VW Golf, still in the running in Class A8. Provelar and Burrows were at this stage no threat to the frontrunners, but consistency is one of their fortes, and they were looking at a possible top 5 finish. While they went their merry way, Eastern Cape crew Adrian Karth and Rikus Faria had moved up the pecking order in Class A7, courtesy of the Ball, Olivier and Discretion. Hot on their heels were another Eastern Cape crew in Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch in the Sasol VW Golf. As with events throughout the championship season, the Cape Rally drew large and enthusiastic crowds. They love their motorsport down in the Western Cape, and spectator vantage points at special stages attracted the enthusiasts. On the Group N front, reigning drivers champion Hannes Krobler and Brian Duncan were quickly into the groove. The pair have reeled off a succession of top 5 finishes this season and were again starting to take early control of the Group N category and Class N3. The Toyota pair of Kobus Roos and Neil Faree started the day with a slight advantage over Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper in Class N2. Roos is the son of former Works driver Koos Roos, and the immediate target for him and Faree was to finish ahead of reigning Class N2 champions Saunders and Hooper. That would make up championship ground, although the odds were slightly against them. There was still plenty of evidence on the route of a wet spell in the Cape, but charging along behind Roos and Faree were Saunders and Hooper. Like Roos, there's rallying in the Saunders genes. Dean is also the son of a former Works driver, with father Eric doing duty in his day for Ford and Toyota. Veteran former SA champions Jeff Mortimer and Jerry Gericke were having their best outing of the season in the Sasol Nissan Sentra and were challenging for a top 10 spot. A press corps wag unkindly dubbed them the grumpy old Ben, and that's a misnomer if ever there was one. A local was also showing a fair turn of speed, but he failed the scrutineering test. Another pair of locals made it through scrutineering, but Palbin Toyota Conquest crew Richard Bam and Ashley Gericke ran into early morning problems when they coasted to a halt in Special Stage 6. We promised more problems for Class A7 Championship leaders Tony Ball and Marty Olivier, and the KwaZulu-Natal pair limped into the service park at Riebeek Des. While service crew went to work on the Bulwer Park VW Golf, Ball had a sorry tale to tell.
Broke a left-hand CV about halfway through the 19k stage, so we battled there, and then we split to do 26 k's of open section, and then a 14k stage on one side shaft, so we've dropped about 6 minutes now, so we probably last in the rally.
The unfortunate Richard Bam and Ashley Gericke were going nowhere slowly in the stricken Palbin Toyota Conquest, but it was a different story in Class N2, where battle still raged.
The gap is still very, very small. It's up and down every stage. We're having a good battle. So, yeah, let's see. There's still the rally has just started, so let's see. We'll see after lunch today where we are.
Farmyard, which drew another huge crowd of enthusiasts, with the Sasol VW pair of Jan Habik and Doug Judd still leading the rally. On the Devitt side, the reigning champions were having a little trouble with traction and had lost some early time to Serge Damaso and Guy Hodgson. Second on the road were Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the Team Total Toyota Corolla. They were now down in third place with dramatic race cam footage from the Toyota pair on an ultra-fast section of the route. Lawrence and Paisley were fairly belting along when their world turned upside down. The huge accident put Lawrence and Paisley out of the rally on the spot, with driver and co-driver miraculously emerging unscathed. Charging along behind Lawrence and Paisley were Serge Damaso and Guy Hodgson, and there were more anxious moments as the dealer Team Toyota almost suffered the same fate as the Team Total car. Damaso and Hodgson kept the hammer down and came charging through the farmyard section, with the pair taking more time off Habik and Judd to close the gap to 9 seconds. The sudden and dramatic disappearance of Lawrence and Paisley now lifted Team Total teammates Jean-Pierre Damaso and Johan Klaassen into contention for third. There were plenty of vantage points in the farmyard, and now locked in battle with Damaso Jr. and Klaassen for third place were Cape crew Didier Moreira and Donny Duval in their Toyota Conquest. Behind them, Eastern Cape crew Adrian Karth and Rikus Ferrier were still running at the front of Class A7, but were under serious attack from Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch. Amid all the action, a remarkably cool and calm Etienne Lawrence reflected phlegmatically on a first non-finish of the year.
It's been starting to the point where we have to drop a rally, but dropping a rally this way is not really the planned way. It was just a left-hander tightened up on us, and we ended up going into the wheat. And the surface was hard and didn't lose a lot of speed. and there was these contours, and they were just a little bit too sharp. It shot my back up, and then it nosedived. The nose dived in, and then it went over head over heels. And, aesthetically, it looks bad from the outside. All the panels are bent and the glass is broken and all that. But the suspension-wise, I don't think it's too bad. But we'll have to try and rebuild it before the next rally, which is now this is now the rally that will drop, unfortunately.
More drama, and at the front of the field, Yanni Havoc suddenly voiced fears that there was a mechanical problem with the Sassel VW Golf. There was no letting up when the pace was concerned, but Havoc was suddenly fighting the wheel at high speed. The problem saw Havoc and Judd drop more time, and the gap over Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson was now a little tenuous.
That was actually not quite part of the plan. So for the last two stages we didn't have power steering, and we decided to rather be a bit careful, because once the car gets out of line you won't be able to correct it again. So we were driving a little bit slower with a lot of caution on our side, and I think we've managed to fix it now, so now we'll have to go.
By early afternoon, only 5 seconds separated Jan Havoc and Doug Judd and Serge Damso on the Cape Rally, with crowds continuing to stream into vantage points. Farmyard special stages are a favourite, but with power steering now restored to the Sassel VW Golf, the reigning champions did in fact start to go. So well did they start to go that they rapidly pulled away from Damso and Hodgson and were putting matters beyond the dealer team Toyota crew.
90 right, yeah. 90 right, 90 right.
With the championship situation uppermost in their minds, the experienced Damso and Hodgson were not tempted into chasing after Havoc and Judd. Second place was all Damso needed to move within 17 points of clinching his 8th Drivers' Championship. That translates into 6th place on the final event being enough to do the trick. The Old Boys Club, with past, present and would-be rally drivers taking in the action there, Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Claassen were gradually winning the battle for 3rd place, with history in the making, with father and son together on the podium for the first time in South African rally history. Old Maestro Cyril van der Merwe appeared to approve, while Hannes Grobler and Brian Duncan were on their way to another top 5 finish, Class N3 honours and the outright Group N Championship lead. Some impromptu entertainment from an enthusiast who missed out on the Olympic diving team kept everyone amused, with a great time being had by all. Rallying has its lighter moments, but Koos Roos and Neil Fourie and Adrian Karth and Rikus Faria were under the whip. Karth and Faria had lost the Class A7 lead to Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch in the Sassel VW Golf, and Dean Sanders and Graham Hooper had moved ahead of Roos and Fourie in the Class N2 battle. The Class N2 win on the Cape Rally virtually wrapped up back-to-back titles for Dean Sanders and Graham Hooper, with the team total pair 7th overall. Jeff Mortimer and Jerry Gericke turned back the clock and went one better. An impressive performance from the far-from grumpy pair lifted them into 6th overall in what was probably the most impressive performance on the rally. Although running well back on the road, Sassel VW Golf pair Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch were now top dogs in Class A7. The now well-travelled Koch commutes between London and South Africa to sit alongside Grandpa Coleman in the National Series. Behind them, there was another good performance, with John Bruin and Terry Porter 3rd in Class A7 in an ageing Opel Kadett. A final Swartland glimpse of Table Mountain, and after a final super special stage back at Killarney, reigning champions Jan Havoc and Doug Judd were still in the championship hunt after a victory that was ultimately comfortably achieved.
The tactics is for us to win the event, so that we've done now, so I think it's important for the next event that we at least get someone to maybe push him back a little bit, not let him score full points in his class at least. So yeah, the next event is going to be a tough one.
And bubbly for Group N winners, Grobler and Duncan.
Very, very glad to be here, and it was a good rally for us. There were some rough places for a Group N car, you know, but Dean and them gave us a hard time, and all the other Group N guys are there, and I'm very happy for them, you know. It's the level that we've put there for them. A lot of the guys are on that level. I see Jeff Mortimer did very, very, very well. I'm glad for him. I mean, if I drive like him at his age, I'll be glad, you know.
Victory for Jan Habak and Doug Judd, but the Cape Rally was a special event for the Damso family. Serge and Jean-Pierre made SA Rally history by becoming the first father and son combination to finish on the podium in a national championship event.